Let my people go. Oppressed so hard they could not stand. Let my people go. Go down, Moses. Way down.
I can't see it.
Let our people go. We need not always weep and mourn. Let my people go and wear these slavery chains forlorn. Let my people go. Go down, Moses, way down in Egypt's land, down on Pharaoh. Let my people go. The devil thought he had us fast. Let my people go. But we thought we'd break his chains at last. Let my people go. Go down, Moses, way down in Egypt's land. Tell old Pharaoh, let my people go. Good afternoon. Welcome back from a wonderful walk. It is such a blessing when we can take all of our traditions and entwine them and know that they're one and know that we're one.
Yeah.
It's the greatest gift that we can imagine.
Yeah.
So taking Palm Sunday and standing together waving palms as a strong, powerful symbol of resistance, and then gathering together at a Passover seder that in and of itself is an act of celebration, of liberation, of freedom, and of moving ahead, of resistance. Joining those traditions together is powerful, is strong, and is a fine gift. The seder plate that you have in front of you is one that over the next little while we'll be eating. And we'll be eating symbol by symbol, focusing on each symbol, on what it means and on what we're taking in all together as one people. Some of you have been to seders before, some of you have not. If you have not, know that this is not exactly typical of a seder in some ways, but in other ways it is. That there is matzah. That I lost my matzah. It's somewhere back there. That there is matzah. That there is grape juice or wine. That's okay. Go ahead. You get a whole piece. That there are symbols that walk us in the same steps that the Israelites walked from slavery to freedom. We begin the Seder every year by saying that we were slaves in the lands of Egypt. Let us now never allow any other people to be enslaved again. That is our commitment. And that is our commitment today as we eat this symbolic food and we celebrate this Seder. So we start by looking at the first symbol. And the first symbol is the horseradish, which in Hebrew we will call maror, meaning a bitter herb. And as we focus on this horseradish, before we scoop some up on a small piece of our matzah and eat it, we think of the bitterness of oppression and the fact that if we don't yet understand that when any one of us is oppressed in any way, we are all oppressed, we have not taken in the full message of those bitter herbs, of that maror. So take one moment, and if you could think of a way that you have been oppressed in your life, and say out loud what it is in your life that has oppressed you.
Transphobia.
Yes.
Racism. Sexism.
Alcoholism. Homophobia.
Able-bodiedism.
There are so many ways that we're all oppressed. And as we take the matzah and scoop some of the bitter herbs, we take in the truth that all of us make a commitment to work against the oppression of all people. I got it. We need it. We have to eat a whole week's worth.
Exactly. Starting now.
Exactly. Yeah, some of us feel oppressed by matzah after an entire week of it. So that's right. The second symbol.
Yeah!
The second symbol is parsley, and it is a symbol of hope. Of hope that all of this oppression can be eliminated if we work. Now, traditionally, we dip the parsley into salt water before we eat it, and then we eat the greens of spring in order to say that the tears of our oppression can only fuel our working toward new life and toward new greenery. We would be doing that now if we had salt water down here. Since we don't, I'd like you to use your imagination. Yeah, right. I don't think we're going to dip it in there and then eat it. No, I don't. Not quite. But instead, imagine and dip and holding this lovely green, which interestingly, as we set up these plates, was the one symbol that kept almost blowing away. Because hope is hard to hold on to. We hold this, and as we eat it, we know that our hope will keep us working toward a better future and toward making a difference in life. So this beef on a traditional seder plate would be a bone. But in sensitivity to all of those who are vegetarian and would be fairly appalled by having a bone sitting up here, we have a beef. And the reason that we use a beef is because just like with a part of an animal, it is blood red. And this beet is a reminder that blood red is a reminder that many give their lives in order to fight oppression, in order to move our society ahead. Today, we remember Martin Luther King, and we think of his words and of his great gift. These are words of King.
This comes from one of actually my favorite talks of King, given 45 years ago this week at the Riverside Church. If we are to get on the right side of the world revolution, if we are to get on the right side of the world revolution, we as a nation must undergo a radical revolution of values. We must rapidly begin to shift from a thing-oriented society to a person-oriented society. When machines and computers, profit motives, and property rights are considered more important than people, the giant triplet of racism, materialism, and militarism are incapable of being conquered.
No.
Our only hope today lies in our ability to recapture the revolutionary spirit and go out into a sometimes hostile world, declaring eternal hostility to poverty, racism, and militarism.
Let's try it without it.
You ran out of juice. So lift your piece of matzah. Matzah is a symbol of two things. It looks as if there's not much to it because, in fact, it has been flattened. It has been flattened by slavery and by oppression. It's a symbol of that slavery. We call it the bread of our affliction. But when you turn it over, it looks a lot the same. But it is, in fact, a symbol of freedom. It is the bread that the Israelites baked as they were leaving Egypt and moving through the narrow, tight spaces into freedom, into an expanse. The only way we can do this and the only way we can move ahead is by being a community and taking care of each other. So if you would, take a piece of your matzah, break it off, and find somebody you don't know and feed it to them. Learn their name, feed them the matzah.
I don't know you very well.
I'm Margaret, and
You both are very
I don't know. What's your last name?
Try that.
Great. Well, so I'll do this. Here I did one more. Lauren. Yeah, it's like
So we now have an interruption. The interruption is the 10 plagues. The 10 plagues of the Exodus story were all ecological disasters. Arthur Waskow writes, "We interrupt the foods that mark our seder to address them at this point in the seder because they interrupted the flow of food to human beings and other life forms in the ancient past and in the present. The plagues were not lightning bolts flung by a super pharaoh in the sky, but echo disasters brought about by the arrogance and stubbornness of a top-down, unaccountable ruler, Pharaoh. Today, we have our own plagues, that our own pharaohs, the 1% global corporations, are bringing to earth. I will be saying the name of 10 plagues and ask that you repeat after me these plagues. And then if there are other plagues in the world, other pharaohs, you'll name them, you'll shout them out, and we'll repeat those after you too. These plagues are plagues that we hope to eliminate by our work. As we mention each plague, I'll pour a drip of this grape juice out of its glass, because as long as there are people suffering from these plagues, all cannot be completely joyous, and this is a cup symbolic of hope, symbolic of joy. So, bloody rivers. That's undrinkable water poisoned by fracking. Asthma.
Asthma.
Our children suffering from coal dust and gasoline fumes. Suffering and death for fish, birds, vegetation, and human beings. This is too long to repeat. From the oil upheaval in the Gulf of Mexico. So how about oil upheaval?
Oil upheaval.
Smashed mountains and dead coal miners in West Virginia.
Massive mountains and dead coal miners in West Virginia.
Unheard of droughts in Africa, Russia, Texas, and Oklahoma.
Unheard of drought.
Right. And more places too. You have unheard of floods in Pakistan.
Unheard of floods in Pakistan.
If there are other plagues that are there in our world because of human greed, shout out the name of those plagues.
Foreclosure.
Say it again.
Foreclosure.
Foreclosure.
Poison food.
Invasion of foreign land.
Invasion of foreign land.
Imperialism.
Imperialism.
Poverty.
Poverty.
Say it again.
Poverty.
Again, yes.
Unemployment.
Unemployment. Hunger. Capitalism.
Nuclear power.
I got two. We have housing crisis. So
Housing crisis.
Nuclear power.
Nuclear power.
Sexism. Sexism.
Surveillance.
Racism.
Transphobia.
Transphobia.
War. I've got so many, I can't even get them all. War.
High immortality.
Infant mortality.
Infant mortality.
I heard Zionism back there. I can't do
It's so complicated. I don't
Don't go there.
Fundamentalism.
Fundamentalism. Deportation.
Sexism in the church.
Sexism in the church.
everywhere.
Human trafficking.
Human trafficking.
Corporate thievery.
You know what we can do?